If you are going no contact with a parent and you have children, especially young children in the middle, this video might be of interest to you. I am a survivor of a mother who's a sociopath and a narcissist, and I went no contact with her when my children were 5 and around the age of 2. So I've had a lot of time and a lot of experience with how that looked for my children as they grew up. And I also have another daughter who never grew up with her, met her like once, maybe twice kind of thing in her lifetime. And so if any of this sounds like you're in the right place, and there's a comment that has inspired this video and is the reason that I want to address this very sensitive topic. I also want to make it known that I don't encourage or discourage people to go no contact, low contact, stay in contact. That is a personal decision for each individual person to make on their own with knowledge. So what I really do is give you the information as I know it with myself and my clients. I specialize in the healing of survivors who come from narcissistic family systems. There are times where you can maintain some of these relationships, but none of those times are without having to do some damage control. That's the truth of it. All this to be said, let's get into the comment, and then I will give you some deeper information around this topic. Thank you for being here, by the way, and thank you for commenting in. Your comments help me provide you with what I think people are looking for on a whole. So keep them coming. All right, let's get into the comment. I'm rambling. I know. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, here we go. OMG, this sounds like the last text my malignant father sent to me. He said, quote, "My door will always be open to you, but if you choose not to come, at least it will be nothing I have done," unquote. Like, okay, go off. Everything that happened in the past was all my fault while you've been nothing but a little angel. Sure, Jan. I'm now struggling with breaking up with my covert mother. The enmeshment is strong. I have a 5-year-old who adores her. Your videos help so much. I've finally gone days, had 3 days relapse, 4 days, yay, without calling her or checking on her. I see her every day because she works at my kids' daycare, trying to find a new one. She won't even look at me and will just talk to my kid. And it hurts a little, but not enough to make me let her back in. And I finally admitted to myself that while the kid in me still yearns for her, the illusory loving mother, I despise her. Your videos have helped a lot. I never thought I would understand how I actually felt about her. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing. So as I said earlier, when I went no contact, my children were around the age of 5, 6. My eldest daughter, actually she was closer to 6, if not 6, and my son was 2. So to my son, it really wasn't significant because he was the invisible child to my mother. To my daughter, it was very significant because she was her golden child. The best thing that I ever did, well, one of the best things I ever did in my life was to go no contact with my mother and save my children from learning that love looks like pain, disrespect, lying, sneaking, stabbing emotionally. That it was conditional and transactional and all of the things in between. Over the years, I've been, maybe obviously, maybe not, able to have conversations with my children as adults. My eldest is now 41 years old. My son is 37, and my youngest is 33. None of them, I want you to know, not that you've made commentary to this, but I know people ask this question, have felt deprived of love or care because they didn't have a toxic grandparent in their life. My daughter, who loved her so much, did struggle. She missed her, and we had to have conversations around it. based on what she was asking and expressing. And most of it included, obviously, and should be obvious, age appropriate explanations with information. So, meaning that I would never respond to a question that my daughter asked me or any of my children without clarifying what information they were looking for. So I'd ask them, like, what do you mean by that, for example? Sometimes in language that's more palatable to a young child. But basically, I might say, for example, well, what do you feel about that, or what do you know about that? So I'm filling in the gaps and not giving them information that might be too adult for them, because I'm in my perspective instead of looking at it through their perspective. This is important because we don't want to give information that is overwhelming or confusing. Mostly when my children were younger, my ex-husband and myself would say things like, well, your grandmother, we didn't refer to her as grandmother to our youngest child because she never knew her with that title. So this would have been to my eldest daughter in particular. She did a lot of things that hurt mommy, and she isn't a safe person. And she might ask, oh, did she punch mommy or physically or whatever? And I really didn't want her to know that my mother dropped me out of a 2-story window when I was around the age that she's now asking me that question. And I would say, yeah, sometimes there were physical things, but most of it was not nice things. And that would be kind of the language that grew into more adult-like language. And it was really interesting because my daughter at times would pause and kind of go, oh, you mean like when she ignores you? 6, 7 years old. Or when she doesn't talk nice to grandpa, or when she doesn't give my little brother what she gives me. So she saw, and she knew that there was something off about that. And you know what I learned when my daughter became an adult? I learned that my daughter felt guilty during a lot of that time. My daughter learned guilt from my mother because she felt like she was being treated in such an elevated way, and she felt guilty for receiving and enjoying the things that my mother did and gave to her, and felt sad for her little brother in particular, and felt sad for me, her mommy, that her grandmother didn't like me very much. That's what I mean when I say we're protecting our children from messages around love that aren't real, that aren't true, and that are downright confusing. We want our children to grow up and know that we don't tolerate people who don't treat us well, and we don't stay in relationships that aren't loving. And we want them to learn that what love is it's kind and it's safe. Every relationship that we expose our children to should be the same type of relationship we have with ourselves. And if we're not there yet, that's okay. We can keep working in that direction. But the more that we love ourselves, the more that our children learn how to love themselves, because they see what it looks like. Every relationship should provide safety, should mean that you are seen. So we have to see ourselves too, which leads back to providing safety, and cherish, meaning value. And if a person isn't giving you a feeling of safety, feeling seen, and cherishing you, then why would you want to be in that relationship? You're doing the right thing is what I'm basically trying to tell you on a personal level. Because as your mother treats you unlovingly, I'm not going with disrespect, this goes well beyond that. She's also teaching your daughter as a byproduct that there's something off about you, because she can love your daughter so much. Because that was the other messaging that my eldest was receiving, that she couldn't quite trust me, that there was something off because look how my mother loved her and not me. It was all very confusing. Stay strong. Keep moving in the direction that feels safe and healthy for you and your child. And you're going to be okay. My kids never felt, beyond my eldest daughter having a time where she missed my mother, she never really felt a loss of her. And just as a side note, she did end up in a relationship with my mother in her adult life. And someone's going to go, well, then she felt a loss. No, this wasn't that. She was actually seeking a relationship with my grandmother, not knowing what we now know all that my grandmother did in terms of CSA and being a participant with my grandfather against me. But my eldest daughter didn't know any of that. And she was seeking connection to my grandmother, and my mother was the gatekeeper of that. Guess what happened? My mother showed her colors. My daughter chose no contact with her and has been no contact with her for several years. And I in no way got in the middle of that, participated in that, because I knew how I raised my daughter and I trusted her to keep herself safe and make good decisions. Whatever that good decision looked like. Good decisions for her, not for me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate the comment. Keep them coming because this helps me to give you what you're looking for. Thanks so much for being here again. See you soon.